Hello and welcome everybody to the fourth round of the BUSR Winter Championship for the Formula One. We are back, and I'm Doom. I'm joined here by Max, and today we are heading back to Italy, back to Imola. We haven't been there last season, I don't think, or were we? I think it's been a couple seasons. So we are heading there today, and I don't know, Max. What were your thoughts on Imola?
I mean, it's gonna be a fun race. It's a demanding, challenging circuit. Not one really notoriously known for many overtaking battles or many races full of surprises, full of action. But it's a circuit that definitely takes skill to master, and track limits and strategy, I think, are going to be the big talking points from this evening's action, just due to the fact that every corner you're really on the edge, especially at the apex, of just cutting across that white line.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know exactly what kind of strategies we'll be seeing today. It depends on the weather, I guess. So we'll see what the weather's like once we get in there. But turn one, chicane and stuff. The kink on the main straight doesn't really count as a turn, surely. So yeah, turn one chicane is going to be quite something. The BUSR has been quite clean as of late. Will this continue? Is a big question. I think we've seen many incidents in turn one here previously, but we've got basically a completely new grid compared to the last time we've driven here. At least that's what it feels like. So yeah, what would your strategy be here today then? I mean, we don't know the weather, of course, but I'm thinking probably mediums, hards, but I don't know, maybe it's got slightly better tire wear than I'm expecting.
No, it is about a medium, hard, medium. Of course, two stop will be off the cards. This pit lane is so long. You lose about 30 to 35 seconds, I think, overall in this pit lane, because it just goes through that whole main straight, and everybody else at that point is really up to speed. So yeah, it really is a one stop. If you try to two, you just lose too much time to recover. So yeah, we're going to be looking at a hard, medium, hard. If it's wet, of course, we're probably going to look for the inters potentially for the whole race. But then again, they do wear quite quickly on this year's game, so they could see a pit stop in that. So yeah, it will come down to when you come into pit lane as well, because of course, fresh tyres around Imola, such a bigger grip margin, such a big advantage as well through some of the high and low speed corners, that you just find so much time that if you box even a lap behind the person who's coming before you, you could see yourself drop 2 to 3 tenths back, even though you were ahead before the pit stop window.
I mean, yeah, no, correct me if I'm wrong. I want to say this is the second longest pit in the on the F1 calendar, but
I think it is. It's either this is the longest or Silverstone's the longest. I think they rival each other because of how long they are.
So yeah, actually, you only want to pit once here. But if it is wet, I reckon it's going to be 2 pit stops. Sorry, one pit stop anyway. Simply because, as you mentioned, the inters just don't last at all in this game. And I mean, chances are, if it starts wet, it's going to dry, and then you want to switch anyway. At which point you'll probably switch onto the hards and then make it to the end of the race. But of course, we'll have to see what the weather's doing. We haven't had any bad weather so far, I don't think. There has been a little bit of rain at the end of the last race in Austria, but only in the last couple of laps. So it's not really affected the race much. But we may be seeing more today. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. We are just waiting to get into the qualifying session. There's 17 drivers in the lobby at the moment. So we're heading from the real life qualifying session right into this virtual one. And they are starting to ready up now. So we'll be there in just a few minutes.
Yes, we certainly shall indeed. I don't think we should say the real-life qualifying order, just in case people watching at home haven't watched it just yet. But I will say, especially Q3, was quite exciting. It was a session to watch, but we'll not give any spoilers. But talking about potential spoilers, I mean, it's not really a spoiler, but let's have a look at the team, the drivers' standings, should I say. And of course, last week with Josh Woolley's disqualification, the championship pretty much got swung directly into the favour of Pilocoris. He's on 160 points compared to last gen Newt's 98. That's without the drop round. So for Pilocoris here, I know we've reached the halfway stage of the season. It's he's to lose at this stage.
I mean, yeah, and he's got so much momentum right now. He's in a really strong position for this championship at the moment, and we'll have to see what happens. Of course, just one bad race might completely mess you up, as we have seen in the real life championship with Piastri, unfortunately. I know you said you're a Lando fan, so you're probably overjoyed by his downfall, but I, on the other hand, am crying. But we are heading into the qualifying session now, so let's see if they can keep up their pace and if they can come out on pole.
Yes, we certainly shall as we go over trackside. And I am more of a McLaren fan than Lando fan, so Piastri's downfall, I mean, if you told me coming into the start of the season either driver would win the championship, I would have been happy as Larry. I would not care. But yeah, Piastri, unfortunately, having a bit of a downfall in real life. But we see Meet the Teacher come out of the pit lane first in the Alpine. 17 drivers for us this evening. Some of the drivers from Lobby 2, and of course, a majority from Lobby 1. And your championship leader is that man who lies 5th place at the games put him in. That is Fundarinho, Chris's Pilocoris. But as the Herder cars stampede their way onto this historic racing venue, it's Ben Mills actually who leads us away. I got it confused there, but it is the man who returns from his hiatus of last week's race by not attending.
Yes, Ben Mills, one of the fastest drivers on the grid, I would say, and going to be looking to make an impact here. Looks like he's out on the softs today. There is extra points for fastest inters qualifying, but that's only available for the first few minutes. So it looks like there's only 4 people out on the inters that will be trying to go for this. We've got Fundarinho and Josh Woolley towards the front, and then looks like Dale and Sportmad towards the back. Not sure I've seen Dale. Is that a Lobby 2 driver by any chance?
I think Dale is a Lobby 2 driver. Actually, no, I think it's Alex Lansdale. They've changed their name to FZR Dale. So I think that is just a name change on lap front. But Ben Mills is now just starting his first flying lap. Of course, a lot of these drivers not going for that interpole because this circuit's so difficult to master, and every lap is vital. And that's a big slide out of Tamburello from the Williams driver as he now makes his way up into the Villeneuve chicane, down to 6th gear, then flick it into 5th, flick it through the corner. The car constantly sliding underneath you as you head through that right-hander, as you then head into the late braking zone of Tosa before you drive it up the hill to the Piratella, a key invalidation and track limit hotspot as you head into the left-hander. Again, the car just slides underneath. You've got to have so much grip. You've got to have so much confidence in the car as well as you head down into Aqua Minerale, down to 4th gear, over those curbs beautifully is Ben Mills as he now heads up into the Variante Alta as you once again hit the brakes at the start of the curb, down to 3rd gear, try to invalidate, and does invalidate at the Variante Alta. If you just take that little bit too much curb, you pick up that track limit. And for Luke Sawyer, he's now coming up to that hotspot. Is he going to suffer the similar fates?
No, that looked clean enough. Not invalidated. He'll be able to set this lap. Unless these last 2 corners are a little bit tricky with the braking. So let's see how he fares. Let's get the onboard camera here. It's very easy to go wide down that second to last exit. And it's particularly on this last exit as well. But it looked clean enough. And hugging this corner here to the line, and that is a lap complete.
Yes, it is a lap complete. A 14.0 is the benchmark for everybody to beat. Of course, the likes of Fundarinho on the intermediates, you won't be looking for lap times for them. Sportmad with the intermediate benchmark, that's a 19.5 from the Ferrari. Fundarinho, of course, on his interlap, trying to get an extra point for that pole position in that category. It's a 15.3 from GM, so I think he's made a mistake somewhere. Ender Epic, he comes to the line, goes with a 15.1. and he's about a second, 1.1 seconds away from Luke Sawyer. Wooly Bob's Josh Woolley heading up to the line. This is surely going to beat the intermediate pole. Yes, it has. A 19.2 from him. Last Gen Ute goes up into second place. Time's coming in thick and fast. What about Thunderino, who's nearly at the end of his lap? And he does take away that Inter's pole position by 2 seconds. Thunderino flexing his muscles even on the intermediates.
Yeah, crazy speed there from Thunderino. Particularly on the Inters. Very little grip on those. And in this circuit, I think requires quite a bit. As we have seen already, it's very easy to overdrive, as demonstrated by Ben Mills earlier. And who else is coming out across the line? Sir, like, got Dale here. A little bit of a lock-up into the penultimate corner. But across the line they come, and it's good enough for 10th. Not what they wanted, but that is an Inter's lap.
Yes, it certainly is indeed. And look at that, Thunderino just under a second away from the closest soft runner, as we now see Jordan Pinnock, El Kona, making his way to the line out of the second Ravazza, and actually no, Alexa dive into the pit lane. So for Pinnock, he's not going to be setting a lap time just yet. Of course, we did say about the start of the championship order. It's Pittacoris on 160, Last Gen Ute on 98, Josh Woolley on 81, Sawyer on 62, Pinnock 59, Doherty on 58. Of course, him and Ben Mills, who's on 52, weren't able to attend last week, as Ender Epic with a 15-1 stays fourth fastest. He's going again, I think, on the same set of tyres. So let's see what the McLaren can do, as he now makes his way out of Tamburello and into the Villeneuve chicane.
Yeah, getting that weight transfer. Well, the weight transfer doesn't really transfer in Formula 1 cars, does it? Forget what I'm talking about, but that is a purple Sector 1. Very good start for Ender Epic there. And coming up the hill there and taking a left. I don't really remember the corner names too well, so feel free to take it off me at any point. Through Aqua Minerale there and up to the chicane. The chicane is where most invalidations happen, so will he keep it clean? That's purple Sector 2 as well.
It is purple Sector 2, and Ender Epic could be on for at least a strong lap time here that could put him onto the front row of the grid. Liam Doherty, of course, in that third place, just behind Last Gen Ute, but there's still about half a second away from Luke Sawyer, who's now heading up to the line. Here comes Ender Epic, Lee McLaren. Can he go any faster? He can, up to second place, but still 3 tenths shy. So that lap time from Luke Sawyer is still holding up nicely, and it seems like nobody can really match it at the moment. But for Ender Epic, exactly what he needed to get up into that second place. Needs a big turn in. Fortune, of course, was involved in that incident, of course, at the start of the Austria race, where we saw cars all over the road, and which eventually led to Josh Woolley getting the disqualification. Ben Mills through the first sector is the improvement here. Of course, not actually set a lap time so far, but it did say a purple Sector 1, so I think Ben here is going to be a one to watch to see if he can finally take the challenge to Sawyer.
Yeah, and once again, approaching Aqua Minerale here. Got to get the turning right. Don't want to go too wide. And up to the chicane. Does the chicane have a name, or is it just the chicane?
It's the Variante Alta.
Oh, yes. Purple Sector 2 there. And now all eyes on Ben Mills. Can he get provisional pole here? These last 2 corners are all about maximizing that exit speed.
They certainly are indeed, as Ben Mills now comes up to the line. Is this going to be enough? As Josh Woolley, that's 2 sessions in a row, he's been unfortunately disqualified, and Ben Mills on a 13.6. That's a beautiful lap time there from Ben Mills. Josh Woolley will start from last for blocking the pit lane, apparently. So that's a confusing one there for Woolley. But in 2 competitive sessions, he's been disqualified twice.
I think this game has a vendetta against Josh Woolley.
I think it does. I think he's also... Is that going to be a new record now? The most consecutive disqualifications from a race? Or, whoa, competitive session, should I say?
I don't think there have been many disqualifications in the BUSR history. I feel like these are probably within the first 3.
Damn. That just shows that it is a very rare occurrence, and it's lightning. Well, they say lightning doesn't strike twice. Well, it certainly has for Josh Woolley. As that's now his second disqualification. Thunderino is on a lap currently. Not sure where he is out on the circuit. Of course, had that intermediate pole lap, so he'll be looking to try and improve here. And actually, I think he's aborted this lap and might have gone off into the gravel because the car did look a bit mucky there. So he's going to go for one now. So let's see this attempt from your championship leader, Pillar Chorus, who of course has won every feature race this season. Lost the sprint to Josh Woolley last week in Austria, but here in Imola looking to make it 4 in a row in the main races, and that is going to be starting off with a pole position surely. I think he's taken pole in every single session so far this season as he now makes his way through that first sector split 1.2 seconds up. So he's on a current projection for a 15.7 as he makes his way out of Tosa, now up into the Piratella. Will have to navigate his way through some traffic on this lap. The Piratella does that quite nicely as well as he now heads down into Acqua Minerale, just going to be off the throttle, slamming onto the brakes, down to 4th gear, ride the curves as best as you possibly can, go a bit too wide, and the car spits out on you into the Valiante Alta. 2.7 seconds up now is Thunderino, and look at the commitment through that chicane, just gracefully danced over the curbs. It's actually Pinnock's crashed somewhere on the road at the Piratella, and he's unfortunately retired from this session. So he's our third retirement / disqualification from this one as Thunderino exits out of the second Ravazza. Will this be good enough to beat Ben Mills? Will this be provisional pole? No! Second fastest, 2/10 shy. So Thunderino, so far in this session, not going to take that provisional pole, but Ben Mills with that 2/10 advantage. That's a healthy advantage over the man in second, and that seemed to be a very strong lap time, but not enough.
Well, with 6 minutes to go, he may turn this around yet, but this is a good start for Ben Mills, who will be looking to claw back some points in this championship.
Yes, he certainly will. Of course, with that drop round of last week, he has stayed with 52 points, a strategical error as well. Last time we were here
and
in Monza.
In the wall.
And, oh! Ender Epic in the wall. That's drama for the other McLaren here so far this evening. Both McLarens coming in strife in qualifying, one retiring from the session, the other ending up in the wall at the exit of Tamburello. Easy to do as you head through the third corner, the left-hander. Just dip a tire onto the gravel when you're seeing yourself round. And for Ender Epic, his attempt has unfortunately gone into the mud. And what potentially could have seen himself onto the second row of the grid, you have to come into pit lane and change that front wing with Sportmad now setting a purple first sector.
Yeah, this will be the first representative time from Sportmad. What can he put up on the board here? About to come across the second sector line. Will this also be purple? It is. Oh, this is starting to heat up.
It really is. And Sportmad, who's been a little bit of a... He's been a bit of on the outskirts of those top fives. He's never really shown the pace to really rival it with the guys at front, but all it takes is one strong circuit and you are in contention. So we'll see what Sportmad can do now as he finishes off his lap. He'll be up to the line and keep a tight run. And Sportmad goes 8th fast. It's only a 14.6. Apparently 2 purple sectors in that one, so unless he had a really scrappy final sector, I do not know how he's lost a second to Ben Mills. But I do know the purple sector and the middle sector at least can lie to you, and no matter who crosses that line could set a purple sector, but a purple first, so strong in that first part of that, potentially where the downforce is needed, but through that middle and final sector, not showing great speed. But 8th fastest, not too much to complain, as I think Liam Doherty just puts himself up into 4th.
Yeah, and there's a few drivers out on track at the moment. We have had information from Josh Woolley confirming that he was DSQ'd for letting people by in the pits. So the game really just hates Josh for some reason.
It certainly does. Of course, last week he got disqualified because the safety car wouldn't re-overtake him. And this time around, It's because he was blocking the pit lane, apparently, just trying to let other people through. And now we see Ben Mills set up for his next attempt. This will probably be his final attempt of the session. And surely here, Dan, you think that if Ben Mills can even extend that gap by half a tenth or a tenth of a second, unless Thunderino pulls a lap from the heavens, the Williams driver has this one in the bag.
Oh, I think so indeed. He is almost 2/10 clear of Thunderino, and he's about to start his next lap, and the track is clear ahead of him. So, let's take a look on board with Ben Mills here.
Yes, as he exits out of Tamburello now, this, of course, could be your pole lap for this evening as he now makes his way into Villeneuve. Nicely done through Lepe, maybe a little bit wide from that second apex, and he is down by 0.03 of a second, so that may be correlating in that time loss. A little bit of a slide heading out of Toza as he makes his way up into that Piratella. He'll be down to 6th gear, down to 5th actually, using all the circuit on corner exit as well as you lose a tiny bit of battery as you head down now into Aqua Minerale. Slam it onto the brakes, down to 4th gear, bring that power back up. And let's have a look at the middle sector split here for Ben Mills. Is it an improvement? Yes, it is, by 0.08 of a second.
Oh, and that's
through the chicane, and he's
invalidation.
invalidated. Just like he did on his first run. On the final run of his session, he has invalidated the lap. And for Ben Mills, that now puts his pole position in all sorts of strife as Thunderino has emerged out onto the circuit. And we'll see if he can snatch that pole position away from his fellow competitor and potentially fellow championship rival. But with Thunderino so far clear, another race win, it could be what he needs to just put that one hand on the trophy as Ben Mills, of course, retires from the session. Not enough time to go again. So all eyes now down to the championship leader. Can he make it 4 poles from put 4?
Yeah, he's starting to get ready for his lap there, but there are a few people out on their laps at the moment, so let's have a look at what they're doing. And they're Epic coming up to Aqua Minerale now, up on their time. Will it be an improvement this lap? We'll have to see.
Yes, we certainly will have to see from Ender Epic. Of course, had that mistake in the last run, and now on this run, 4.5 tenths to the good. So could potentially now see themselves onto that front row of the grid, displacing Thunderino. Is this going to potentially, somehow, if he can get a good 2 Ravazza's, rival for pole position? Out of Ravazza 1, maybe a little bit wide from the apex, through the second Ravazza. Nicely done through there. Use all the battery, all the straight line speed you possibly can. Ender Epic to the line. It's third fastest, only just shy of Thunderino's original lap time, who's just heading through the first sector now, as we now see Meet the Teacher heading through the final couple of corners. 2.5 tenths to the good on their lap as they're now making their way to the line. Stays 11th fastest, but all eyes really need to be on Thunderino as he's now heading up into the Piratella. I think I see on the track map, and he's invalidated. Ben Mills surely will take pole position here unless somebody else pulls out a lap of all laps and is able to somehow beat the Williams driver.
Yeah, that is insane. But 80k here. I'm just going to say 80k. Yeah, that makes sense. Up on their time, look like purple sector 1 or 2 there. But they are currently down in 12th. Do they have enough pace here to maybe make an upset? Let's find out. To the line they come, and it's going to be nothing. Well, that was anticlimactic.
It certainly was. No improvement there as CDG actually picks up a 5-place grid penalty for a collision with Dale. So that's Alex Lansdale, who's unfortunately picked up some damage maybe on their lap. Newt, only 5th fastest. Luke Sawyer, he's up by 2 tenths of the first sector. He could potentially have a rival for pole position. Of course, set the early pace, but only a 10.5 improvement in that middle sector. Could at least rival for the front row of the grid, you would think, if he could find some time through this final sector as he makes his way down now into the Ravazzas. Just a really big decline. It's very difficult to get the car stopped as gravity is working against you under braking. As you now make your way through the final corner, you can see an Aston Martin all over the road there. I think that's going to be of Liam Doherty, who's made a mistake. Here comes Sawyer to the line, goes second fastest. So Luke Sawyer just misses out on pole position, found some time in the final part of the lap, and that pushes Thunderino Actually, no, he's pushing on his Thunderino. He's up by 10th on his lap. It's not all over yet for pole position, ladies and gentlemen. Skip back into your seats. We could see the Red Bull driver now snatch pole position away from Ben Wills. Up to the line for Thunderino. Pinacore, your championship leader. He does take it away by a 10th of a second when we all thought it was over. When we thought he was down and out, he pulls out a lap of all laps. When the pressure is on, the diamond has been created, and Pinacore, your championship leader, does it again.
Well, this is going to upset some Ben Mill fans for sure in the dying moments of the qualifying session here, and it looks like that was the final lap as well. Well, one of the final laps. The qualifying session is done. It is Thunderino on pole position for the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix here at the BUSR.
What a lap that was from Thunderino. That really was just an absolute expert display at the end and keeping cool under pressure. Wow, I am absolutely speechless of that one. We thought it was all over. We didn't think he had the fuel to go again and all the time to go again, but he did at the dying embers there, just be able to get that run that he needed. And it took pole position. The last car across the line, the track evolution at its best. And your championship leader gains 2 points from this session. Inter and overall pole.
Yeah, no, that was crazy. I went from a couple tenths down to a couple tenths up. That's what championship material is made out of. And yeah, I can do words. I'm putting words together. But no, I think looking forward to this race now. Thunderino, all he needs to do is just defend that position now. Of course, going to turn 1, going to be quite tricky. It's a very long straight from the start there, and that's where most overtakes usually happen, especially lap 1, turn 1. So we'll have to see. But first, let's have a word from our sponsors over at Grid Finder. Thank you for Grid Finder for sponsoring this. And of course, if you are interested in participating in something like this, then head over to Grid Finder to find your league. Or if you want to join us at the BUSR, head over to busr.gg/Discord. Oh my god, I cannot do words anymore. Over to you, Max.
Yeah, that was quite an interesting qualifying session. Of course, if you want to join something like this, maybe not BUSR, but just an ordinary league, use Grid Finder to find anything that you desire. ACC, Le Mans Ultimate, F1, anything. It can show you the ways and put you in some quite competitive leagues as well for your skill level. But yeah, after an interesting qualifying session, your championship leader puts himself in prime position for 4 in feature races. Only has missed out on 1 race victory this season, and that was the sprint last time out in Austria. And surely you think, Dan, if he's able to do this and extend his lead by even more, because I mean his closest competitor in the championship in terms of grid positions is Luke Sawyer, who's in fourth place in the championship on 62 points, nearly a whole 100 points back. Pinacore, what stops him wrapping up the title by round 6, or even next week in round 5?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think it's mathematically possible next week.
I don't think it's mathematically, but round 6.
Round 6, very possible. And I mean, if this form stays, it's over. It's absolutely over for everyone else. But that being said, there is still glory in coming second, especially in a competitive league such as this. We've got some incredibly quick drivers here. Pinacore being very quick, Ben Mills being very quick. I forgot who else is here at the moment, but we've got many quick drivers in this race alone, and I'm sure they will be trying their best to make it hard for Pinacore to get away with this race win.
They certainly will indeed, but of course being a circuit where it's hard to overtake, qualifying is absolutely crucial. And we are now heading to those 5 red lights. It's Pinacoris with Mills on the front row, and it's lights out. And we're underway here in Imola. It's a brilliant start from Thunderino, but Ben Mills tucks into that slipstream straight away. And is the Williams driver going to go for an attack on the Red Bull? No, just too far back. We have Sawyer versus Ender Epic, and the Newt versus Ender Epic. Sorry, it's the Kick Sauber is able to get by, and there was also a Ferrari back around in the background. That's Iron as GM and Sportmag going side by side. Jordan Pinnock's already made his way up into that top 10. He's had an electric start throughout this field. Josh Woody up to 12th as well from starting at the back, but for Thunderino, he leads the way currently side by side in the background between the Ferrari and the McLaren, as Sportmad has to cede the position to Jordan Pinnock, and we now see Ben Mills all over the back of Thunderino, but it's a dream gets away from the Red Bull, exactly what he would have wanted, even on a little bit of a kink from the grid position, was able to hold on to that pole, and now are we going to see him drive off into the distance that we know oh too well with only one DRS zone around here at Imola?
Yeah, only one DRS zone makes it very hard, and there's someone around. That is Meet the Teacher, facing the wrong way. But back to the front here, Ben Mills. DRS will be enabled at the end of this lap, I believe, but he will not be able to use it quite yet. So he's going to have to use the slipstream along this main straight for now. Doesn't look like he'll be able to make a move going into the first corner, unfortunately, but let's have a look at how much people have lost or gained. It looks like Josh, Willie, and Elcone have made up the most at the moment, and the biggest losers are Meet the Teacher and Eamon at the back there.
Yeah, unfortunate for them, looking at the tyres as well. It's only Dale and Eamon alongside Buckets Gaming on the hards. Everybody else on that medium compounder tyres. Of course, 32 laps here at Imola this evening. And we are going to be in for a long haul of a race. Plenty of DRS trains, you would think. Just knowing at the nature of this circuit. And Ben Mills is still keeping quite close to Thunderino. Not, of course, being able to escape down the road from lap 1 is the Red Bull driver. So Mills keeping him happy. And, of course, track limits are going to be a big factor. I say that. Buckets Gaming picks up a 3-second time penalty. That could affect their end of the race. I was going to say track limits, especially at the front of the field, could pay dividends and could be the difference between winning and coming off the podium. So for Sawyer, he's still holding on. So it's all the way down to Newt, this opening train. Ender Epic's just fallen out of it ever so slightly. And we could see a move from Liam Doherty down into turn 1.
Yeah, and I think Ben Mills with DRS here, going to maybe look up? No, a little too far back, unfortunately. But, yes, as you said, DRS is now open. We were given no promises for no DRS trains, so I think we may be looking at a few DRS trains tonight. Unfortunately, that being said, there are some moves happening at the back. Meet the Teacher, making a move on House. But let's have a look elsewhere. Elcone, Jordan Pinnock. I don't remember where they usually place, but I feel like they should usually be maybe a few more positions up on the grid. So they'll be looking to make up some positions here, of course. Really close to GMT UFC here, and maybe a move happening on the next DRS zone.
Yeah, it certainly could. Pinnock, of course, with that collision, of course, 5th in the standings, but with that collision with the wall in qualifying, unfortunately, meant he started from the back, but has made his way all the way up to 10th already. So there is plenty of pace in that McLaren. And next on his list will be GM as we make our way down at that main straight to start lap 4 of 32. And it'll be DRS open for not only the McLaren, but the Haas driver as well. But you could see really aiming up for those sights. He's looking to the inside line as Pinnock, and he gets that move done, or does he? There's a little bit of contact. He does get the move done, and Josh Woody's going to try follow him through on GM round the outside through turn 3. Goes Woody's. We now make our way into Villeneuve. This will be a bold, brave, and beautiful move. He's able to pull this one off. Forces the Haas driver wide, and Woody goes round in the process. Woody into the wall, and for the man who was 2nd in the championship at Austria, disqualified. Then got disqualified from qualifying. His night goes from bad to worse, and this season, when it rains, it certainly does pour, and Josh Woody down to 14th place, and potentially with some big damage onto those tyres, and also with a lot of work to do.
Yeah, and Josh Woolley already used his drop round for this season. Looks like the safety car is out. Oh no.
Oh.
What's happened there?
House. House has got
Yes,
off at
House.
Villeneuve.
Completely missed that.
So, for House coming off, that potentially has just saved Josh Woolley. We said he had a lot of work to do, but that might have just saved him. Surely no one going to come into pit lane too early to go onto those hards. They will not survive the rest of this Grand Prix. So, for Thunderino, he will just bring this one through. As actually, we do have some drivers into pit lane. Is that for a set of hards or is that for another set of mediums?
That is a set of hards.
Going on to Liam Doherty. He's trying to go to the end. Or is this... I mean, of course, this is either potentially going to the end here, Dan, or they're going on that two-stop strategy. Of course, you don't lose really any time now because it's safety car. You just lose a few track position places in track position. And if you're able to claw your way back up to the likes of Thunderino, Ben Mills, you could then go into the mediums at the end, whereas they're going to go on the hards and potentially see yourself in a really strong position by lap 32.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So early safety cars allow you to try these alternate strategies, particularly going long and then seeing what you can make with your tires. But I am worried that they have lost far too many positions for it to be as valuable now, considering that, like, quite a few people, like, for example, quite a few people around GMT here have pitted, so they're all on fresh tires as well, so it will be very difficult to pass them. And as they say, safety cars breed safety cars. Well, would they even make it through the restart without gaining damage? From the way I'm seeing it, there's a lot of trading when you make these calls to pit early. You lose some positions to risk, like, and put big risk on it, but you might get some really good outcome from that. Yeah, I'm really bad at putting words together. Oh my god. But anyway, we are still under safety car here. It will be probably another lap or two here. If I was to guess, everybody is just trying to keep their tires warm, it seems.
Yeah, they certainly are. I think it'll be in at the end of this lap, just due to the fact, of course, the other two will catch up, a Sportmad and a GM. So they will now, of course, bring this safety car period to an end. And it's going to be interesting to see how these drivers who came into the pit lane now work compared to the drivers who have stayed out. Are they going to have superior grip and just slice their way through the field? Or are they just going to be bogged down ever so slightly and boxed in at this point? So, as we now make our way to that final sector, it should be in a matter of moments where we get the call. And it should be, I think, once we reach the exit of Variante Alta. And there we go, safety car in this lap.
Alright, so we'll be looking at a restart here. Thunderino leading the way. He's just going to be backing everybody up. Of course, can't overtake for the checkered line. Sorry, and yeah, warming up those tires, trying to get a jump on Ben Mills. But well, will Ben be ready?
That is the question, as we see a bunch of position changes at the back of the field. I don't know what's happened there, and it's really disconnected the train, and it's those new tyre runners that is disconnected. So for Thunderino and co, they could have a really strong position in this one. And Thunderino goes now. We go racing once again here in Imola. And it's a really good restart from Thunderino. He's left Ben Mills in the dust as Liam Doherty is squabbling away in the background. Josh Woolley, of course, up into 8th place, side by side between Ender Epic and Dale, as we see Josh Woolley now to the inside line of Aud, as we also see Ender Epic and Dale still going side by side in that one. 3 wide in the background. That's Liam Doherty swooping around the outside of Alduk and Meet the Teacher. What a move that is from the Aston Martin. Certainly contender for overtaker this season, as we now look to the inside line with the Mercedes actually under pressure from Jordan Pinnock of El Cone. And look at that. That's also Buckets Gaming nearly going round at Toza. And it's all kicking off here at the back of the field, where drivers just try to make moves everywhere they possibly can, or they're just trying to hang on and survive
it looks
on these
like
older
GMT
tyres.
has some front wing damage there, and so does the Ferrari of Eamon. That explains why they fall so hard.
Yeah, it certainly does. I think Eamon
oh, that's some contact.
got some damage. Oh, Ender Epic has now picked up some front wing damage, I think, there, as he has unfortunately come a victim of Meet the Teacher being a little bit slow on these sides. If we look into the first Ravats, and Jordan Pinnock's made his way through this train quite nicely, but look how much it's dropped him off. Liam Doherty, that gap 2.7 seconds, as we see Meet the Teacher actually get past on Ender Epic, who is actually, no, he didn't pick up the front wing damage. Not sure who actually did pick up that front wing damage in the slightest. But DRS is now re-enabled, and we're now going to see Ender Epic under all sorts of pressure from Sportman, who goes to the inside line, gets through, and Ender Epic really starting to struggle here. Was up at the front of the field in the opening stages of this race, now down to 12th.
Yeah, it's a terrible, terrible race so far for Ender Epic. Fantastic race for Josh Woolley, who's been through 2 effective 2 starts of the race, has made up 10 positions. Is looking like going to be a pretty decent race for him, but let's have another look further back where all of the action is happening at the moment. Oh, and that's Buckets Gaming out. We caught that just on camera just in the last moment there, and that will be another safety car right now.
I mean, you did say safety cars breed safety cars, and not even a lap later we get another safety car, and this time it's the Piratella. Unfortunately for the V-Carb outfit, they have both their cars out, but that's quite a unusual crash, especially that far into the Piratella. Potentially got on the grass on entry, sent his car around and into the wall, but not really the strongest of starts there, excuse me, from Buckets Gaming. I'm surprised we haven't seen Thunderinho, Ben Mills or Luke Sawyer into pit lane. Are they potentially just extending with this safety car to give them the best opportunity come the end of the race? But we do see everybody else come into pit lane, except from Liam Doherty, who on those hards, I did say here as well, Dan, that if Doherty and co could potentially get themselves up to the back of the likes of Sawyer, Mills and Thunderinho, by the time that pit window comes into play, they could certainly see themselves within contention at the pit window. And this safety car has done just that.
Absolutely. I am now thinking, yes, the people that have pitted last time have made the right choice. Because as we can see, Liam Doherty, Assassin, they are now towards the front because everybody else has pitted again. So if you are happy with your tyres being only a few laps older than the rest, then the people behind you, that is, then you're doing great, because your tyres will be in a much better condition than everybody else around you who hasn't pitted. Particularly these medium runners here that are, well, the people on the current podium and Meet the Teacher and Ender Epic in 7th and 8th.
Yeah, it's all now about how this strategy works out for the likes of Newt, Josh Woolley as well, because of course they've just come in for a set of the hards. I'm expecting them to go to the end. I do believe that they can get their tyres to the end. It's just everybody else, though. The drivers that, of course, the likes of Meet the Teacher, Doherty and Assassin, and then, of course, the drivers who haven't boxed yet in that top 4. Will they be able to make those mediums last long enough to go onto those hards at a good point that they get their tyre deficits? Meet the Teacher actually dives into the pit lane this time around. It's probably going to go onto the hard compounded tyres. And yeah, it's where all these strategies collide. Will, of course, the likes of Newt and Josh Woolley get the jump on everybody else that they can't get through, because of course, being a circuit here as well, Dan, where it's notoriously difficult to overtake, surely, even though you're on older tyres, you want to have that track position and potentially stay out to the end here while everybody else is trying to scrap by each other.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And to keep in mind, we have already had a safety car before this, so it's been what 2 or 3 laps on the mediums that when they're not really being used, so those mediums are still in a decent condition, and they will be good enough for the restart, I'm sure. So if they can make those last until maybe lap 18, then they'll be able to have a massive tire advantage when they go onto the hards against everybody else that is now on the hards.
Yes, it really is all about these strategies. And we're going to potentially see the safety car. Is it going to be out for one more? It's all down to if Iman can catch up in time.
It would have called it by now, I think.
Yeah, I just believe it's going to be out unless... Yeah, no, it is going to be out for one more. It'll be too late to call the safety car in. If we got to that Tag Heuer sign as Iman actually caught back up to the field, where if the safety car got to that Tag Heuer bridge, it would have been called in. But we are going to have one more lap of the safety car. And the more this safety car stays out, the more it plays into the favour of Newt and Josh Woolley, because everybody around them isn't able to extend that advantage over them. And that pit window of being about 30 seconds, that could see Thunderinho and Ben Mills really drop into that mid-pack and potentially lose this race victory due to their strategy alone.
Yeah, of course, we'll have to see what happens. As we've said, safety cars breed safety cars. We were running clean for a bit there, and I think the incident for Buckets Gaming was probably unrelated to the safety car restart, but it gives everybody another opportunity now to try to make up those positions, and we'll just have to see how aggressive everybody tries to go. We also need to keep in mind track limits. We've already got 2 people with 3-second time penalties for track limits, and I mean, this circuit is one that's really easy to overstep it on, I think.
Certainly is, because I mean, just look how narrow that circuit is, especially out of Emilia-Romagna or even through this chicane here. You're just riding the curbs at every given moment, and if you just overstep that mark a little bit too much, you do pick up that warning. As we actually see GM have a big... Actually, no, sorry, that wasn't GM. That was, I believe, Jordan Pinnock have a big wobble out of the Variante, out of just trying to warm up those tyres. But we are about to get underway once again. And the question is, when does Thunderinho, Ben Mills, Sawyer and Dale all come into pit lane?
That is the question at the moment. But I think the bigger question for right now is who will come out in lead after turn 1 on this restart?
That certainly is the question, and Thunderinho goes again. He hasn't dropped Ben Mills as much this time around as he did on that last safety car, and we go racing once again here in Imola for the 3rd time this evening. We have the race to get restarted, and we're now heading down into that first corner. We see Doherty already attacking on Dale, and you can just see those superior tyres working in the Aston Martin's favour. Assassin could be next on the list to get by on the Red Bull driver as we make our way through the Villeneuve chicane. Sportman is able to get past out. As I actually see that's Ender Epic round. He was round in qualifying. He's round again in the race, but he's just able to avoid any front wing damage, but loses a heap of time compared to the rest of the field. And here we see heading up the hill, we see Assassin and Dale, all scrapping it away as we head through the Piratella and down into Aqua Minerale. But once again, Thunderinho leads us away on the opening lap.
Probably not too much of a surprise on who's leading the lap then, but that is very unfortunate for Ender Epic. He made up so many positions on the last few laps after the multiple restarts, and it's all been thrown away now. But the race is not over yet. We've got so much more to go here, and that is Newt trying to get by Assassin, who will have the better exit coming out of the last corner there, and who will... It's a drag race down to the first corner now, and it looks like Newt has the advantage. No DRS open yet. That's surprising. Oh, it might have. It was probably only just re-enabled, but that is Newt getting the overtake done on Assassin.
Yes, it certainly was, as Newt now gets his way up through the field. He's got a little bit better tyres than Assassin is now going to be trying to attack Dale as we make our way through Tozer. Our biggest gainer in this race is actually Josh Woolley up 8 as Liam Doherty now attacking Luke Sawyer up into the Piratella, and he's got that move done before he even hit the brakes. He's up to 3rd place now. The Aston Martin, a man on a mission. He felt hard done by in Mexico. Can he make amends here in Imola? But the fact is, these drivers around him do have to come into pit lane, except from potentially the likes of Josh Woolley, Jordan Pinnock and co. Doherty, I expect, into pit lane again. I don't think his tyres will go the distance. But for Thunderinho, Mills and Sawyer, they'll be on much fresher tyres. They'll be on superior grip and purchase. And will they be able to make their way back through as Doherty now through Tozer? We've seen Newt actually get past Assassin, potentially forced him wide, as that's actually Dale going wide. So potentially Newt forcing Dale wide, and that's put him down to 11th place when Newt moves up to 5th. And we're going to see Doherty potentially now attack Ben Mills.
Yeah, the top 3 all very close there, and putting pressure on Thunderinho, but Thunderinho getting a good exit there, and that is Liam Doherty making a move on Ben Mills before, well, in the braking zone, and yeah, it's a done move. Fantastic from Liam Doherty here. Got, as you said, man on a mission, got points to prove here, and I think Thunderinho and Liam are friends, if I am not mistaken, so got 2 friends battling it out for the race win here.
Of course, when that helmet goes on, there are no friends, only enemies when you head out onto this racetrack. So there will be no love lost between them as they now make their way down into the Ravat. So you can just see that superior grip from the Aston Martin compared to, of course, the Red Bull. Late on the brakes through the first of the 2 Ravatsas. And now this is where the traction really comes into play. He'll have the DRS, he'll have the battery, and surely we're going to see Liam Doherty steam by Thunderinho here as we're about to reach that halfway stage in the next couple of laps. And here comes here comes Liam Doherty to the outside of Thunderinho, and he gets the move done under braking. Just look how much more grip he had to just go later on the brakes. He's up to the lead now, and Thunderinho drops down to 2nd. This will be the first lap he's not led all evening long, as Newt was able to get past Luke Sawyer, and he's now going to be the next man on the mission, passing the 2 cars in front of him.
Yeah, and I think this is probably the time where Thunderinho and Ben Mills will be thinking to head into the pits. I think the tires are just too dead here, and that's being clear by, well, not being able to keep the lead. Thunderinho has incredible pace, but the tires are just not it today. And yeah, looking up and down the grid, we can see that most people's tires are much newer.
They certainly are indeed. So as we see, the teacher now picks up a second 3-second time penalty for track limits. And heading through the penultimate corner, here comes last gen Newt, of course the man second in the standings. We actually see Thunderinho and Ben Mills into pit lane, so they've elected to come into the pits now. They have triggered that effect as Luke Sawyer now picks up a 10-second time penalty for unfortunately speeding in the pit lane. That's going to cost him dearly. But Thunderinho comes out on the road, and with 16 more laps to go, he's going to have to try and claw down that deficit to Newt, Liam Doherty and co. And this is now going to be a real tough race for everybody in this field. How quickly will Thunderinho catch up? Will Thunderinho catch up? And will he get by? It's one thing to catch up, it's another to overtake.
As proven by the last few seasons of Formula 1.
Yes, it certainly is. Has been indeed. So for Doherty, he's got a 2.2 second advantage over last gen Newt. I'm not sure if he'll come in again. Those safety cars have helped him quite a lot. And he might be able to keep this one all the way out until the end. But we'll have to wait and see. So we make our way through the Piratella. That's Ender Epic getting out of these guys' way. He knows he's not going to be squabbling these guys for position, and he still needs to come into pit lane himself. And Ben Mills is just still within that DRS of Thunderino. Even getting past by Liam Doherty, he hasn't knocked him off the back. And look at that by last gen Newt as well. He's brought that gap down by 0.4 of a second as Josh Woody now makes his way past Assassin. This race really is getting spicy now here, Dan. And so far, the strategies, they've not converged just yet, but they are building up to a big crescendo.
Absolutely. We have less than half the race to go, and things are starting to fall into place now for Josh Woolley, who has started from the back and is currently in 3rd place. And I mean, I don't think he needs to pit again, personally. I think he can make it on these tyres. The people that he's fighting, will be fighting for the podium, are all the way at the back of the grid at the moment, albeit on completely fresh tyres.
Yeah, they are all on completely fresh tyres. We need to keep an update on that gap between Iman and Thunderino, how much he's gaining onto the back of that Ferrari. Currently 8.1 as the Ferrari picks up another 3-second time penalty. I think that's his 2nd of the race.
I feel like we've missed Luke Sawyer's penalty. He must have sped through the pits because it's a 10-second time penalty. So Luke Sawyer is effectively completely out of contention for the podium.
He certainly is indeed. I did mention it when he did come into pit lane, but Newt is gaining about a few tenths a lap over Doherty, but he's now going to be under pressure from Josh Woolley as Out was able to get past Dale. And also Sportmad past Assassin, some good moves there as Dale and Iman are now... Actually, no, Dale was coming into pit lane. So the Red Bull in. Ben Mills sets the fastest lap, and he's going to go for the move here on Thunderino. They're going to be working together. They're going to use the slipstream, going to use that DRS to bring that gap to the cars in front down. And they found actually about 2 seconds onto Iman over this previous lap, who still is about 5 seconds away from Aldak. So still plenty of work to do, but they're showing some really strong pace at the moment.
Strong pace indeed, carving their way through the field very slowly. Only just begun the journey, but I see them coming back to the top in a few laps' time as everybody else's tyres start to wear off.
Yes, they will start to wear off. They'll be in the best position.
Ender Epic on 17-lap-old mediums. Surely risking a puncture any moment now.
I think he is. I think he's just gambling for a safety car, so just try bringing him back into this one. But if anything, I think it's just worth coming into pit lane and then praying for the safety car afterwards, because there will be no grip, no traction coming from those medium tyres, and they will not be in good condition at all as he now makes his way under braking into the Ravazza. Let's just see how much of a grip difference there is. Oh, no, actually, we say that. Ben Mills is now past Ironman, and that's actually got in between himself and Thunderino. So the Ferrari is causing all sorts of havoc between these drivers that have boxed, and this might just drop Thunderino off the back of Ben Mills, but no, Ironman not able to stay ahead of the Red Bull Mania Championship leader. And that's the first driver dispatched. 7 seconds to the next car. Then it will be, of course, it'll be 4 seconds up the road to GM after passing Meet the Teacher, and then 2 seconds to catch up to the top 5. But the field is very fastly spread. They're not all together, so it's not like when they catch up to the likes of Meet the Teacher, they're going to be all over the back of the likes of Doherty. They've got a long old way to go, and not many laps to do so.
Long way indeed, and Liam might actually have to pit again. His tyres are a little bit too old, and has he pitted just now? No, he has been overtaken by Newt though. The new race leader now is last year Newt. Willie Blobs is not far behind.
No, he is certainly not, as Ben Mills and co past Meet the Teacher, who's dived into pit lane. And he's going to be on to a set of the hards. So for GM will surely come in as well. So that clears the road ever so slightly for Thunderino and Ben Mills, as Dale now sets the fastest lap of the race, of course, on those medium compounder tyres. But still, especially the guys at the front of the field, there's nearly a whole 10-lap difference between between Doherty and Ben Mills' tyres. Surely Doherty's not going to make it to the end, and still everybody else around them on those hards is going to struggle.
Yeah, the tyres, I think, will definitely be showing their age now. GMT definitely needs to pit in the next few laps. That would be, as you mentioned, one person less to dispatch of.
Yeah, it certainly is one less to be dispatched of. But of course, we have a yellow flag in the first sector now. I'm not sure who that was for. I think it was for Ender Epic, who is just getting out of the way of everybody as GM has been overtaken as he's now dived into pit lane. So an extra car out of the way for Thunderino and Ben Mills, who are now 1.6 seconds behind Aldak for that 7th place. But it's still 8 seconds up the road is Sportmad in 6th. So a lot of work on their hands, and I just think they're going to run out of time unless everybody else has to come into pit lane.
How much longer can their tyres keep working at 100% is the question here. 11 laps to go. Who will need to pit again?
Will need to pit. That is...
Ooh, that is a lock-up for Thunderino. Will be taking some life out of those tyres for sure.
He'll definitely make it to the end. Of course, so with Ben Mills as they're sitting behind Alda there, of course, through the Variante out. So not really an overtaking opportunity, but the Mercedes went deep, and that's allowed them both through. Doherty's into pit lane. That's crucial. 16 laps on those tyres. Doherty's called it quits. So does that mean the likes of Josh Woody, Pinnock, and also New all have to come in very shortly, because they've still got to do 23 laps on that tyre, and that is going to be a real big challenge as Doherty will come up behind. Of course, the likes of Thunderino, Ben Mills and Luke Sawyer, and he's on another set of the hard compounder tyres to take these to the end. It is going to be an absolute race now, as Doherty will come out in that 10th place, you would think. And he's got to be well behind the field in front of him. 9 seconds. So if everybody else has to come in, surely it's a straight fight between Mills and Thunderino, because, of course, Sawyer's got that 10 seconds.
Yeah, Sawyer, as we've already discussed, is out of contention for the podium. The 10-second penalty is far too large to be able to win with. Oh, Ender Epic gets another 3-second time penalty. Not an ideal race for Ender Epic in the slightest, I think we can agree. Very, very much not ideal. But he's only had one pit stop. I thought that was his second.
No, it was his first, of course. Stayed out on those mediums from lap 1 all the way until a few laps ago as Assassin now comes into pit lane. Surely, if you are the likes of Newt, Josh Woody and Jordan Pinnock, if you are going to come in, you're going to have to do it within the next few laps or you lose too much time. And, of course, Ben Mills and Thunderino are absolutely flying. They've brought down that gap to Sportmad by 3 seconds over the course of the past 2 laps. So they're at a 1.5 seconds quicker over the course of 2 laps. So this is what it really is going to boil down to. Are they going to be able to keep this momentum going forward, or will they start to lose that tyre at the time they need it most? It's from lap 23 of 32. We've got 10 laps to go here in Imola, and it certainly is going to be a race that all boils until that final lap.
Yeah, I don't know if their tyres can keep up all of this work once they are needed. I mean, I'm sure Josh will be putting up a good fight as well as Newt. But, yeah, no, the race has quietened down quite a bit now. It's mostly just Ben, Thunderino, and Luke carving their way through the field now. Slowly and one by one, as Josh now takes the lead of the race. Went from last to first. That's quite something.
He certainly has, and if he's able to finish this off as a last to first, probably be one of the best drives, especially comeback drives after being disqualified in these past 2 competitive sessions in probably BUSR history. Just the fact he's been able to do it after being disqualified in the past 2 competitive sessions, meaning that he's not really had the best time of things recently, and this will certainly be the bounce back, the performance switch he needs and will certainly swing the pendulum back in his favour. But an extra 2 seconds have been found by Ben Mills and Fundarini over the course of the last lap. They're still closing at a rate of knots because these guys aren't really pulling away from Sportmad at this current rate of rate in time. So it really is all about this pace management, the tyre management that these two are showing of Ben Mills and Fundarini. That gap now 2.9, and it is coming down each corner to the guys in front. As we see Doherty able to get past Aldeck. He's now 5.2 behind Sawyer as we have a yellow flag. And it's actually for Luke Sawyer, who potentially has gone round. Or is it Aldeck? I think it might actually be Aldeck who's gone round.
I think it's
there was a yellow flag. No, it is Aldeck.
Oh, yes, Aldeck. My bad.
It unfortunately has gone round at the Variante Alta. Maybe got on the grass on entry. And is he missing any of his front wing? No, he is not. But a safety car there would have been absolutely crucial for this race. But we carry on. Lap 25 of 32. And look at that. Mills and Fundarini nearly within DRS range of Sportmad.
Yeah, I think it's worth keeping in mind. I think Sportmad is losing time to Elcone slightly over a whole lap. So, once Ben Mills and Fundarini dispatch of Sportmad, I think they may slow down in their approach to the front.
Yeah, it might slow down. Oh, no, it's a safety car.
What happened now?
What has happened to bring out this safety car? But this is crucial for the Grand Prix. What does everybody do? Of course, 10 laps to go.
I see nothing on the map. I cannot point to you what's happened. Yes, we'll find out later in the interviews, but this is prime time for Josh Woolley to go into the pits, as he does, and not lose any positions. Surely everybody has to go into the pits now.
Surely they come into pit lane. I wouldn't be surprised if we see potentially Doherty stay out because he's only just come into pit lane. But look at that, Mills in. Mills will probably lose a place to Fundarini here, and that'll be crucial for the race. That moves Fundarini up into P5.
I think there was a slight connection issue, but Woolley is still ahead of Newt, and yeah, everybody dives into the pits except for Liam Doherty, who is come out
just in front. Oh no, oh no, Josh Woolley has been told let him by. I was going to say Josh just cut the exit of the pit lane to try and stay in front of Liam Doherty. It's not worked. Doherty has now got that race lead. It'll be interesting to see what tyres everybody is on. See what they went on to.
Ooh.
Hards for Woolley and Newt. Pinnock went for his old mediums, but then stops for Sportmad, Fundarini and Ben Mills. By the time this safety car comes in, it'll probably be about lap 28. So 5 laps. Those those soft tyres could go the distance.
I think they absolutely will. This is about to get very exciting in the coming moments here, in the closing moments of this Grand Prix. Will Woolley be able to get back ahead of Liam Doherty, who is on slightly older hards? But will he then be able to also keep his position from the soft runners behind?
This is the big question. Will he
I still
be
don't know
able to
what caused
hold
the
on?
safety car.
Me either, because nobody's retired. Maybe someone put it in the wall, potentially Ender Epic put it into the wall, or Aldak. I do not know, but the safety car came out ever so randomly. I don't know why it came out, but still, it's made this exciting race even more interesting. And Doherty, I think he's saving grace here, Dan, is the fact, even though it's 4-lap old hards, we'll call them 3 laps because the safety car came out pretty much as he crossed the start-finish line. The drivers behind him are also on hards as well, which are pretty similar life.
Yes, they are very similar life. However, we have already seen that just a few lap offset can make a difference here.
Certainly does make a difference. And the traction, the grip, the purchase is what causes that difference. With only a few more laps to go. We could actually get this safety car extended to the end of lap 28, so only be 4 laps remaining. Oh, this is now... Because the thing is as well here as well, Dan, not only is it hard runners, then medium runners, well, a medium runner, then the soft runners. It could be moments where they're either 3 or 4 wide heading into certain corners because of just how much grip difference there is between each car. And we could see some absolute carnage happen at the end of this race. We will have it out for an extra lap. So it'll be the end of lap 28, I think, by the time Ironman catches up to the back of this field. I think they'll wait for the Ferrari.
It is the next lap. But yeah, as you just mentioned, only a few laps to go here. Different tires. People have like nothing to lose now. This is giving me flashbacks to Australia 2024.
Yes, it certainly does, with a late safety car dying few laps of the race, and with it all to play for in its entirety. And it's Liam Doherty, who I mentioned earlier on, felt hard done by in Mexico, felt that win should have been his, but it got brutally taken away from him. Is this his opportunity to make amends and break his good friend Thunderinho Pinacoris' streak of race victories? Will it be 4 for 4 for the Red Bull? Will we see a new race winner, a second race winner of the season? It will be resolved in the next 4 laps of racing. And it is going to be Liam Doherty who leads us away, who will be defending for his absolute life to keep everybody behind.
We've seen 2 restarts from Thunderinho now. How will Liam Doherty fare at a race restart?
Yes, how will he react? Of course, our first race restart without the Red Bull man at the front of this field. How will he maintain it? Will he keep composed? Will he go early? Will he go late? Will he do the same tactic? Or will he try something new? But in both scenarios, there has been a Williams driver in second place, and this time it's Josh Woolley who is in that second place as the safety car is in this lap. 4 laps decide the fates of this Italian Grand Prix here in Imola, and it all comes down to a safety car restart. Different tyre strategies. There's hards, there's mediums, there's soft. All 3 compounds being used on this safety car. And it's Liam Doherty who will get us away here this evening. 4 more laps between a new winner or 4 for 4. Would it be 100% perfect score for Thunderinho, or somebody brutally taken away from him? Here we go then. Doherty's gone out of the second Ravazza, and we go racing for the final time, surely, here in Imola. And Thunderinho's already getting past Sportman. He's up to 5th place before we even reach the start-finish line. And that's a beautiful move from the Red Bull, and a crucial move if he wants to see himself break his way up through the orders. He's now all over the back of Jordan Pinnock, who's trying to move potentially on last gen Newt. To the outside goes Thunderinho onto the grass. Somehow holds onto his car, but a superior grip difference will surely mean he's going to the inside now into Stoser. Can he get this move done? The Red Bull fights with Jordan Pinnock. Elcone, of course, the man 5th place in the championship versus the championship leader, to the inside now into the Piratella, and Thunderinho gets through. Pinnock goes wide, and that now invites Sportman through. Sportman is actually attacking the championship leader, and no, can't get through. Mills is through on Pinnock. There's more contact. Pinnock is round, and another McLaren has spun on the safety car restart. But now only 3 cars standing the way between Thunderinho and a 4th race victory.
Crazy restart there. Thunderinho is so aggressive. He's got the tyre advantage. He's going to make use of it. He's made it up to 4th already. 3 more laps to go here, and DRS is going to be enabled at the start of this lap. So he won't have it this lap. He'll have 2 laps of DRS. So he needs to make at least 2 moves here. Well, yeah, at least 2 moves by that time, I think, for him to be able to comfortably get into the lead. But we will see how everybody fights. He is a little behind after the main straight there. But that tyre advantage will allow him to catch up very easily to last gen Newt here, who is on the hards.
That's it. You took the words right out of my mouth there. This is where those grip differences of those softs compared to the hards really do show, as Luke Sawyer is able to get his way past Assassin as they head up to the Piratella. And Thunderino now all the back of last gen Ute will need to at least get a move done now, especially with it being lap 30 of 32. When we cross the line, and we only need 2 more racing laps to go here in Imola, here in San Marino, as it's going to be to the inside, potentially into Valiante Alta. No, he's just going to sit behind for now, is Pinacoris. But you can see this gaggle of cars separated by less than a second. And surely Thunderino is going to go for it here. Into the first Ravazza. He's going to look to the inside line. Newt will defend, but it won't be enough. It's to the inside. Goes to Red Bull, but goes deep. It's allowed Newt to get the up and under. And Newt gets that third place back. Thunderino overshot the corner, and that's cost him dearly, but he can still get the fight back now. Down the main straight into the Tamburello chicane. Is Doherty going to come under pressure from Josh Woody as well? I don't think he will, but to the inside goes Thunderino. Is this finally the opportunity? Newt goes off. Thunderino around the outside. He's through, but needs to make so much time to Josh Woody over the course of the next 2 corners.
And of course, DM Doherty is still out front. Josh Woolley trying his best to get an overtake there as well. Josh Woolley under a lot of pressure now. He's got the championship leader behind him with just 2 laps to go. Josh Woolley, however, rather close to Liam Doherty. He could go for a move a lot easier than Thunderino at the moment can. Are those softs already dead? Is that a question? Is it a Bono my tires are gone moment?
I don't think it is, because he's still found about 0.2 of a second there into the Aqua Minerale section. Now into Variante Alta, of course, the 2 in front just congesting ever so slightly, bringing the Red Bull into play, and all he needs is a little bit of contact, a little bit of drama between these 2, and he could see himself up into that race leaders. Here comes Woody to the inside line of Doherty, and he's got that move done in the Ravazza. And is this inviting Thunderino into play? There'll be DRS for the Williams and also the Red Bull as we make our way down that main straight. As we now make our way down that main straight, and Doherty's under all sorts of pressure. He's defending the inside, but it won't be of any use, as Josh Woolley will have that DRS, but it all will boil down to this final lap. This Ravazza, a chaotic Imola Grand Prix. Josh Woolley to make amends, to get redemption for Austria, or Thunderino to make it 4 for 4, to go 100% in the opening stages, the opening half of this season. And Doherty fighting to the inside might have just cost himself 3rd, as that's Newt now getting by on the Aston Martin. And surely here, with 7 tenths being the advantage, Josh Woolley will be able to hold on. But Thunderino is using everything. He is fighting back. He is fighting tooth and nail over the course of this final lap. Ben Mills picks up 3 seconds. His horror start to the season goes from bad to worse. And now for Thunderino, it's all about this run out to the Variante Alta. He needs an absolutely monstrous one if he wants to try and get past Josh Woody, but I don't think it'll be enough, as Thunderino will not get the run. It's 7 tenths. He might get overtaken by Newt. And to make amends from last to first, this has been a true story of grit, determination, and sheer willpower. Josh Woody, he may have been disqualified in Austria, but he wins here at Imola. The streak is over. Thunderino finishes in 2nd. Still a strong result for the championship leader. But for Josh Woody, that is how you fight back. That is how you swing. And that is a real drive of a champion, as Josh Woolley takes the race victory. After all the trials and tribulation in qualifying and in Austria, he somehow comes from last to first to win here at Imola.
Josh Woolley, what a fantastic drive there to the end, defending from one of the fastest people we've ever seen at the BUSR. But Josh Woolley has the experience, and that celebration is just BM.
Yeah, that was just a magnificent drive from Josh Woolley.
Putting those years of experience to work to pull that defense off. The last to first.
He certainly did put that experience into play. A last to first drive. We thought potentially he might have just written his name out of the championship with that disqualification. But he has decided to come back with a fight. He did not let that disqualification really hinder him at all.
And we'll hopefully be able to speak with him in just a moment.
Yes, hopefully so. But for Thunderinho, you got to feel sorry for him. He dominated the early stages of that race. That late safety car potentially costing him that race victory. But that means the streak is over. But still, a second place. Not finishing lower than second in the first half of the season. It's just so unheard of stuff. And he's still not taken a drop round. That second place could well and truly be his drop round if he wins the next few.
It could be, and that's really scary. Because it's just going to be too easy to sweep up the win by the end of round 6. It looks like we've got a few people coming in to the interview room, but I feel like we should speak to Newt first, our third place finisher here today. So, hello Newt, and welcome into the interview room. Congratulations on P3. That race was chaos. Tell us all about it.
Thank you. Yeah, it was. I wasn't expecting so many safety cars, but it was just all about trying to adapt the strategy as best we could. I think after the second safety car, me and Josh were in a very good position. I think it was going to be a guaranteed 1-2 at that point, but then the final one kind of screwed us over, but I still managed to get top 3. The overtake on Liam at the end was very ambitious, but I had to go for every move that I could, and yeah, I'm happy to get P3.
And do we know what caused that last safety car? Because we weren't sure on broadcast.
I have no idea. Someone in the VC was apologizing for crashing, so I'm assuming it's going to be that, but I had no idea what happened that entire race. Everything was just happening behind me, and I had no clue.
Yeah, of course. You went on to those hards in that second safety car. Was the plan to go to the end of the race on those tyres, or was there going to be an eventual pit stop, or was it just go to the end and try hang on to your position?
Tyre wear was really good on the hards, so they easily could have made it to the end after that safety car. And then I kind of ran out of tyres to pit onto under the last one. I had to go for a new set of hards when I wanted to go for a set of softs, but I didn't have any left. So yeah, those hards would have made it to the end quite easily, but it's unfortunate that the third safety car came out.
And yeah, so obviously a good performance there in Imola, but next week you have Silverstone in reverse. What do you make of that? Are you looking forward to that? Is that something you think you'll be good at?
I've raced on it before, and it went pretty well. I think the racing should be better than Silverstone forwards, because for some reason it seems easier to make overtakes in the reverse, but it's probably going to be chaos because likely most people won't have driven it before, so it's going to be whoever can adapt the fastest to the new track.
Well, I don't have any more questions. Max, what about you?
No more questions for me. Congratulations on another podium, and yeah, hopefully we see you again later on this season.
Best of luck. Hopefully we'll see you again. Alright, so that was Newt. I mean, yeah, very good performance by Newt there, and we still don't have a full answer to our question of what caused that last safety car, so let's go ahead with our next person in the interview. It's going to be Chris's, the man in second. Firstly, tell us about how that race went for you.
Chaos, really. Me and Ben were very unlucky with the safety car timing, so at the end it was kind of a damage limitation with the final safety car. So yeah, still a very good weekend, pole and interpole and P2, so yeah, it was a good race.
And we're asking everybody until we find out. Do you know what caused that last safety car?
No clue. No clue, but I was actually kind of happy that it got out, so it at least gave me some chance to get the top places, so I'm not going to complain about that safety car.
Yeah, it was quite a fight to the end there. Of course, the streak is now over, Chris. Unfortunately, the 100% streak has come to an end, but of course, it was just a very tricky race overall. That second safety car came out. I'm surprised you guys didn't pit at the front of the field, but was it always the strategy to just go as long as you could on those mediums, then go onto the hards for a late burst? It was just the safety cars kind of sort of just unfortunately put that plan in a little bit of jeopardy.
Yeah, that's kind of spot on, to be honest. I haven't done any race prep before this, so I didn't really know how much the hards could last. So in my head, I was like, there was no way I could pit on lap 9 and make it to the end on the hards. So I thought I would extend the mediums and just go on a rampage when I box for the hards. But yeah, it just kind of didn't go out the way I planned it on my head as well at all. Thankfully, though, I did have a fresh soft at the end because I did crash in quali, so that helped on me moving up back to P2. So, I mean, who am I to complain? Obviously, the streak is over, but like, if I'm gonna be disappointed with P2, then we're doing something right.
Exactly, you really are. You are just absolutely dominating at the front of the field. Of course, we head to Silverstone Reverse next week, a unique circuit on the calendar. How are you feeling around there, and have you actually driven it in a competitive race yet?
No, I haven't. I don't think I've been driven it in general, probably maybe day one just to see how it felt. But I mean, this isn't official, but I'm considering on maybe that being my drop round. But I'll decide in the coming days if I'll use that. So yeah, I will see. I'll try it out. I'm terrible at normal Silverstone because I struggle with tire wear there. So I don't know if that will be the case on reverse Silverstone, but we'll find out, I guess.
Well, hopefully we'll see you out again next week, and best of luck. And if we don't see you, then I'm sure we'll see you back on the podium very soon after. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks, guys.
All right, that was Chris's, but as I'm sure, as everybody wants to now hear from the man who went from last to first, Josh Woolley. What an incredible drive that was. Talk us through it.
That was chaos. I've been told that it's 273 days since I last won, and that was my first win apparently since Ben Mills joined the BUSR, which makes me feel slightly old. But yeah, I don't really know how to describe it or where to start. Getting disqualified in qualifying was not ideal. Game just decided I was blocking the pit lane when I was letting other people on their lap, which is never fun. And then it just kind of somehow fell into place. I got crashed into on lap 8, hit the wall. Probably should have had rear wing damage, but somehow escaped without it. Don't entirely know how that happened, but I did. And then boxed under the second safety car. And me and knew that tyre wear was good enough that we could go to the end. So we were going to the end regardless. I felt fairly confident that it was going to be a 2-horse race. And the final safety car came up. Added some spice to it. But yeah, I had the pace to win.
Yeah, well, that pace was absolutely fantastic. And I mean, I don't really know what to say. It was just a fantastic drive from last to first. You are the next Max Verstappen. You are going to be the Cam Searle of F125. What can I say? Being a bit more real, next week you're heading to Silverstone in reverse. Do you reckon you can continue this winning form? What do you feel about Silverstone in reverse?
I've not actually driven it on this game, which is interesting. But apparently my luck seems to go, the more practice I put in, the less lucky I get. And so who knows, I might just rock up having not driven the track and see if we can continue a slightly more lucky vein of form and hopefully take the battle to Chris's.
Yeah, hopefully you can. Of course, congratulations on that race victory. And of course, after the trials and tribulations of Austria and now coming into this one, it must be quite a confidence boost that even though you had that disqualification in Austria, you showed great pace there. I think you won the sprint, did you not? And then you went on to just really battle with him at the start of that Austria race as well. So the confidence must be high heading into Silverstone. And Chris has actually also said in his interview he's not too strong around there. So potentially some more points over him on the cards. And you never know. The championship could potentially swing back into your favour on the comeback.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we're halfway through the season. So who knows? Hopefully my DSQ will be my drop round and I don't do something else stupid for the rest of the season. At which point, 20 points to close, which is, yeah, definitely a confidence boost that we can at least have a good battle for the final 4 rounds and bring some entertainment for you guys.
Yeah, as you said, it's only halfway through the season. Who knows what can happen in the remaining 4 races. So best of luck to you, and hope we'll see you again soon.
Cheers, guys.
Well, Max, what a fantastic race that was. So much chaos, so much drama. A new race winner.
Yeah, it was a very eventful evening. Strategy did play a part in it in the end, but not as I expected, or I think anybody would have expected. But yeah, brilliant race, just really action-packed, and shows that even though Imola may not be the easiest to overtake, you could still get some done, and it can still be quite an eventful one. And of course, with Josh Woody now taking that race victory, this championship might have just come alive here, and we could see over the next 4 rounds a little bit of a fight back from the Williams driver.
Absolutely, we'll look forward to it. But for now, I think that is it for tonight. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Tell us in the comments what your favourite overtake today was. All the usual YouTube stuff. But also, if you'd like to join in on the fun, head over to busr.gg/Discord and join our league. Or head over to Gridfinder, who is the sponsor. Thank you for sponsoring. And find a league there that is also as competitive, if not more. Thank you all for watching. I've been Doom. I've been joined by Max. Good night.
And no moment in history where I could stand and say, arithmetic begins here, now. Road.